What's going on, Underworld? How
Hi
are
guys.
y'all doing?
Hi everyone.
So we got a
Thanks for
little
joining
different background. Got two more screens.
us. Yeah,
So does that mean we're gonna have three more screens?
we're gonna have a third screen tonight.
Total.
Yep.
All right.
I'm joining
And
from
you
Chicago.
Well, we're very glad that you made it, and I miss you already. It's only been a day.
Yeah.
But do you want to tell the people why we have three screens today?
Well, for one, I'm in Chicago, and for two, we have a special guest from another paranormal investigation team joining us tonight.
All right. And
My name
our
is
special
Carrie
guest
White.
is Last Words Paranormal Investigation. So let's bring her on and see what she's got to say. Carrie,
Hi, Carrie.
how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right. So
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this.
Me too.
How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Awesome.
Been
So
waiting.
what's that?
Sorry.
I've been waiting.
Been waiting. Yeah, so have we. We're so glad that you came and joined us. So where exactly are you, Carrie? Like, where are you from?
I am located in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, which is in southeast Missouri. So it's called the Boot Heel. I call it the Devil's Armpit. And then most of my team they're not all local. A lot of us are just kind of spread out. We even have a couple people down in Arkansas that join us from time to time. So we're just
nice. I have family out in Arkansas.
Nice. So maybe when we come up to Arkansas to see her family, we can connect and do an investigation together.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
Definitely
that would be
that.
awesome. So, the Last Words Paranormal Investigation. Tell me about your team. Tell me what you guys are looking for in the paranormal field.
We Last Words actually came to me in one of my dreams, and it just it made sense after I said it out loud. I was like, okay, So what we do, I like to call it historical adventuring. We're not ghost hunting. We're not hunting anything. We're going back in history. I don't care if it's yesterday or if it's 200 years ago. Wherever we're at, it's history, and whoever's there is historical to us.
Absolutely.
So we're adventuring in history. Paranormal investigation, ghost hunt, whatever you want to call it. We like to just go and just chat with people, whether we can see them or not.
Right. So it's pretty much you're going there to have a conversation with somebody that you would go meet at a coffee shop, or
Exactly.
it's still people. Like
some of us have developed relationships with these beings, these spirits.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel
like the more and more that you go, the more and more spirits know you. Like, it's crazy to think like that.
Yeah.
Crazy to know that after somebody's died, that they'll know you in the afterlife, and like they'll say your name. They'll say yeah.
So and the neat thing about that is, if you think about it, we're going to hear their last words, maybe. So
Absolutely.
That's kind of where it clicked. I was like, that's exactly what we're doing.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Now the name makes sense.
Now it makes sense.
That's pretty creative.
Cool. That is pretty creative. So speaking of creative, the way that we got Underworld Ministry, me and my friend Matt did this as a summer, like a COVID project to keep our minds busy during the lockdown. And we were watching, we both love the movie Underworld, of course.
Right.
And then we like the band Ministry. So me and my friend Matt became ordained ministers and named it Underworld Ministry. So yeah, that's the name of Underworld.
That's great.
So yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. So every time that you look it up on YouTube, it's either the band Ministry or the movie Underworld. So it works out perfect. We're right in the middle.
That's great.
Yeah.
Actually, my boyfriend and I are both ordained too. So hey, we got a reverend in the house.
Cool. Yeah, right. So, come on, Sarah. Do you have a question?
We have a couple pictures that you sent us. I'm not sure which one you'd like to talk about first.
Just throw them on there. I don't care.
All
Okay.
right. We'll throw the first one up. What is this?
Okay. That is the Long Banta House. It's in Potosi, Missouri. It was built in 1865. That is a property that we've gotten to go and investigate as another team has hosted. And I have been there, I think, 9 times now.
Wow.
And like what I say, you make a relationship with a spirit. That's my place.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Now,
yeah.
how old is this property?
It was built in 1865. So, yeah,
That's a
it's
good
been
era.
around a lot.
Right.
And I mean, she's massive. It's beautiful. They have all the furniture in there is either period. It's all period, but it's all I think from the family and to the house.
Nice.
So I mean,
Yeah, that's
pristine.
yeah, that's kind of like the May Stringer house here. So nothing's original. Everything was donated, and everything's to that period. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is the owner, Maddie D. Long, right?
That was a daughter of the owner.
Okay.
And that's Maddie. She was born on. It's almost her birthday. She was born on July 15th. She ended up dying in February of 1894 at the age of 19 years old.
Wow.
So
do you know what she died from?
I believe it was a bladder or a kidney issue. So I mean, anything back in those days,
it's pretty much.
Yeah, you got a cut on your hand and you were doomed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I mean, she was pretty young, and whenever we went to the property, and there's actually a couple other properties that they have locations on, in their little group.
Right.
But in one of them, they have a huge scale dollhouse, or not scale, but a big dollhouse, and it looks exactly like the Long Banta house. And so, I was like, okay, I was pretty new to using my dowsing rods and everything, but I thought, let's just give it a go. So I just started asking with my rods. I was like, can you kind of point to maybe a room that might work? They pointed me to a certain room, and that room immediately I was able to, connect with her.
Right.
So it was bizarre.
You have a fan, Carrie. How you doing, Alan? Thanks for coming.
He's part of my team.
Nice. Awesome. Nice to see you.
He's from Fredericktown, so yeah, he's one of the ones that he's got a lot of the equipment that we use. He has helped with that, and tech, you name it, and he's sensitive too. He's he's a good guy. We like you.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, they I kind of been just buying equipment slowly and taking up Sarah's kitchen.
Yeah. It becomes an obsession, shall we say?
I'm running out of space.
Yeah, I just have cases everywhere filled with equipment.
Yeah, we also just got a new case to put stuff in.
Yeah.
I like cases too, though. I mean, that's kind of exciting whenever you've got something and you can just, I know that's going to fit perfect.
Yeah. So
every time.
how many times have you investigated this property?
That one 9 times. So, and it's because they always have it. It seems to be on my birthday. So I get to go, and at midnight, I'm doing what I love where I love it. So, it's just kind of phenomenal on that way. So
that's awesome.
And I start talking to Maddie before, I start talking to her here, but before I even get on the property, I'm like, I'm on my way in, are you ready to see me? And then last time we were there, she was beside me and lit a cat ball up. And it was like, okay,
wow.
my girl's
I
here.
love those cat balls
so much. I love them.
I love cat balls.
I went to Gilchrist with Henry from our last interview, and they had a bunch of like paranormal teams, and they sold equipment, and I bought a pair of 2 cat balls for $6. I was like, all right, it's like the best $6 I've ever spent.
I've even given them out to people, so I'm like, they're cheap, they're fun, and it's instant gratification because it moves. you know.
Oh
So,
no,
Yeah.
like it's every
If
time
you
we've
see-
used these. Go ahead, babe.
Sorry, if you see me looking up, I'm paying attention to the trees because the weather's kind of getting bad up here.
please be safe.
All right. If you have
Oh,
to
wait.
go inside on the stairs.
Yeah, I'll just have to be quiet if I do go inside because it's a full building.
Gotcha.
Oh, it's okay. Just we want you to be safe. So you have the Maddie D. Long. So you also sent us this picture. Can you explain what this picture is?
Okay, that is actually a house that private residence that we were able to go and investigate. One of the nurses that I worked with owned it, and some activity had been going on after Ouija board sessions and some spell work that probably wasn't completed appropriately.
Right.
So the family actually left immediately. They left in the middle of the night and did not want to go back in. So we
Wow.
were fortunate enough to go and get to check it out. Two of my investigators didn't even want to pass go. They stood in the living room pretty much the whole time.
Right.
Another girl and I ended up going into one of the bedrooms, the bedroom where all the activity had really been going on. And it was, I mean, it had that ominous, heavy feeling.
Absolutely.
And it was so crazy whenever I was using my dowsing rods. It was just helicoptering to the point where it almost popped my shoulder out.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
okay. So we did not spend a whole lot of time there. However, and I wasn't going in to cleanse it or anything like
Right.
that.
Right.
I made sure we weren't going to go home with anything. But the other spirits that we did get to meet in there were really interesting, really nice. It had been a schoolhouse at one time. That's whenever it was constructed. So it had some older beings that were there. And one, we actually got a little EVP. And at the end of it is a voice that absolutely is not us. And in that picture
Right.
that you showed, there's a table in the foreground, and my recorder was sitting on it. I'm 5'2", so I'm taller than that. Everybody
Right.
else around, farther spread out because we were just saying our goodbyes. So this was up against the microphone. So I just wanted to, that way you could see that, they left, they were gone. And whenever I did get the EVP, it was at a level that, I would have had to stoop down to do.
Right.
But so
Got you. So that's the first EVP you sent me, correct?
yes.
Awesome. We could play that real quick, actually.
Let's do it.
May I be found peace and love that you desire and you need. May I be found peace and love that you desire and you need.
So is it the yup after
It's
at
like
the end?
you or something right there at the very end.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is so clear. It's right against that microphone.
Right.
And that's the only piece. I mean, I clipped it down, but after that, it was dead and me. So that was just a little, I was like, that was my very first one, goosebumps. I was like showing it to everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's cool.
I actually heard whispering the entire time.
I know. And I was losing my voice at that point too. So I was even softer than normal because I can belt it out. But yeah, there was some noise. We'll just call it noise.
So that was you talking until
that was me talking up. I was just wishing. I said, I wish you peace, love, and joy, on your future endeavors or whatever.
Right.
So, but then I got a you, almost like it was like you too, or something like that.
That's cool. Which is crazy because I consider a Ouija board the same thing as a spirit box. You're opening that connection no matter what between electrical to the power of the board. And it blows my mind that they sell it at like bookstores and Walmart right next to the Monopoly board.
Right by the toys, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a little pink one. Oh yeah, it's not going to do anything until you call people like us because there's a kid playing by itself in the room, which we all know that's the number one rule. Don't play by yourself.
Ever.
That's always blown my mind how they just consider that as a toy, which there's proven facts that there's communication out of that board.
Absolutely. Even like with my dowsing rods, I mean, it's nothing different. You know, a
Right.
pendulum, anything like that. If you are lifting that veil in any way, shape, or form,
Yeah.
you're open. It's open.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Something
And
coming in and out.
you,
So it's
that's
up
the
to you
same
to
thing.
control
Like
it.
you have to know how to use this stuff. Like it's,
Always be
I
careful.
mean, yeah. Oh yeah. So I just posted the rules on Facebook the other day on Underworld Ministry just to educate. Like
Mhm.
because I don't want people to go in there and be like, oh, cool, I can do this, and then either not shut the board right or just playing with it freely, nearly, and putting it under your bed. Anything can come through that board, and that creates a haunting. So it doesn't make sense to me why they sell it as a toy.
No.
Which
No.
I don't know. We can get into that all night, but we have other stuff to show. So we have another beautiful house, by the way. It's great.
It's stunning.
Can you tell me about the Ray County Museum?
Ray County Museum was built in 1910, and it originated as a poor farm or a community farm. In the 1960s, they converted over to a nursing home, and in the 70s, the Historical Society got it, and it became the museum. And it is one of the most phenomenal places I've ever been in my life, and I like to travel. But
Right.
every nook and cranny has just something from Ray County in it.
Wow.
It is
That
just
up in
So
the top.
it's kind of like the hub of historical from that county.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome. Now, where exactly is that?
That one is over in Richmond, Missouri, which is over closer to Kansas City.
Got
So,
it. What were we going to say, babe?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did they put something up in the top window?
I don't know.
That's a person up there.
It does look like a person up there, isn't it?
That is a person up there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I didn't even notice that.
I just noticed it, and I'm on a small screen.
Oh, wow. Oh,
that is a
Good to
person.
well, it's new to us. You found it live without us even doing it. I swear, I had nothing to do with that one.
No, I just looked at it, and I'm like looking at the top picture, and I was like, is there someone standing there with their hand on their head?
I've
It
got
does.
one.
It kind of looks like somebody's just sitting there, like, hey.
Yeah.
That's
And that
awesome.
that I don't know. That was neat. Thank you for seeing that. Good eye.
You're welcome.
So not to interrupt you or anything, but basically it's a hub of everything from that county, like
Yeah.
all historical, and they kind of just donate it to that, or
A
how's
lot
that
of them do,
happen?
yeah.
Okay.
Every room is dedicated to a different theme. So I mean, you have everything from the school room to the tea room to the armed services, and they've got the different just everything possible throughout. And so you've got uniforms. They've got mannequins. They've got the creepiest looking mannequin you can ever imagine, and it doesn't matter what light she's in, she doesn't get pretty. So.
Wow.
Yeah, but she's wearing a dress that, a gown that somebody had donated. And they have like, two or three rooms dedicated to, like just period clothing.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just, so, you not only are you getting the poor farm and of course the historical land that it's on, because
Right.
up in that area, a lot of blood was shed.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you've got the poor farm, you've got the nursing home. Of course, people die in nursing homes.
Absolutely.
Then you've got all of whatever energies are attached to these amazing pieces of history that they're donating.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean,
I completely believe in. Yeah, I completely
you can
believe in
feel it when
things
you
being
step on
haunted. Yeah.
the ground.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
amazing. But
That's
it's so
cool.
inviting at the same time.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
one of our investigators, she calls that one home. That's her home. Potosi is
Okay.
my home. That's her home. So
Okay, that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah, we're trying to make the May Stringer our home. So
that's perfect.
hopefully, fingers crossed. But I want to give a shout out. People are starting to come and hang out. Jacob, brother, I love you.
I'm on
My
blocking
buddy.
on you.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna. What's up, babe?
I'm just reading my notes.
Okay.
I don't know if I sent him any more pictures, but one of my notes says the baby doll. Which house was that from?
That was in the Long Banta house. That baby doll is a creepy looking little thing. It's kind of a trigger object. Yeah. So they have had instances, actually during one of the tours that we were on, I had gone outside and a girl had touched it and ended up fainting out. So of course it could have been blood sugar. She is diabetic. However, they have got, a lot of cases where people have seen the eyes blink, the head move, hand move, where it's repositioned a little. So it's a great trigger object to kind of put on there and get a camera on, or any kind of, REM pod, anything to just see if there's any activity whatsoever on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I have a haunted doll that Sarah won't let me play with. No, it's locked up in storage and won't let me bring it out.
Get the sage out.
Yeah. So the doll that I have, it's a 1920s doll, and it was passed down from my best friend's family from the 20s, and she's got real human hair.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send you a picture of her after the.
That'd be
broadcast.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't like it.
Yeah, she doesn't like it. I opened it and she instantly told me to shut it. I was like, nope.
Nope.
But it's safe. Lizzie, if you're watching, it's safe. I promise. So, can you tell us is this the same location?
That one is actually one of the locations over in the Potosi group.
Okay.
That one is the Austin Millam Lucas store, and it was built in 1799. And It started out as just a little bitty tiny place, and they just kind of kept building it around it.
Right.
So, and then
it
upstairs,
was just like a antique little grocery store, one room type thing.
It was all different kinds of things throughout the years. And it's one of those that, all the donations are from the community. And the Minot Breton Society does a beautiful job on upkeep, and they love these properties. Love them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can't not love them. Like, they're just, they don't build houses like that anymore.
No, they don't. They don't.
I wish they did. So, is this, you said from when we were talking before, there's a couple houses on the same vicinity. Is this another?
That's the Presbyterian Church. That's one of the ones that we also get. That actually is also a museum now. And that's where the dollhouse is that I used with my rods to kind of figure out what room to go into the big house. And that one was actually built 1832 to 1833 is when that was constructed.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, and it has served as a church. It served as like the YMCA. So yeah, it's had some history, and it was a movie theater, you name it.
Right. So it's just different kinds of energy all through it. That's awesome.
And then there are five cemeteries that are right behind it.
Oh.
So yeah, you have everything.
Just makes me want to go even more.
It's glorious.
Yeah. So all of these locations so far, these are in Missouri, correct?
Yes.
Now, do you guys have like a researcher or anything that looks for these locations in Missouri, or?
Sort of yes and no. Right now, my group, we're trying to drum up some new places. A lot of these places we're fortunate enough to go on hosted investigations.
Right.
So the same group that did Potosi also does the Ray County. Going to be going to Ray County again. It's going to be hosted through a different group this time, but I've met some of them, and I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're actually looking into some more local areas or local properties that we can possibly go into. Right. And we don't care to drive. I mean, we went to Kentucky and went to a special place there And
I see your shirt. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
We
we're not
actually do
afraid
have
to drive. And our girls from Arkansas, they'll meet us wherever we need to go. So,
That's
but
cool.
we're looking for some local area stuff to start working with, and let our group shine finally, and
Right.
maybe host something eventually.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like what me and Sarah have been thinking about. She brought it up to me that we should be. It's a good way to meet people, like in our community as investigators or skeptics,
Oh
anything.
yeah,
Like come and be scientific, come and be a believer, a non-believer, and I hope the non-believers walk out as believers. You can't guarantee it every time, but
right. And if
it's
not,
pretty.
if they can at least just open that mind just a little bit,
Yeah,
just say
yeah,
no, it can't happen. To maybe,
right.
because the maybe is a win in my book.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When a guy walks out and he's like, "Oh, this is hooey bluey. Oh, I don't believe in this." Cool. Come to the next event. You might
Exactly.
get something next event.
Exactly.
But that's honestly something that me and Sarah have been thinking about. Like, it gives us a chance to investigate it. It gives other people that normally can't get into paranormal like we can. Like, they just don't know. It's just a good way to learn, and you get to
Right.
learn the history of the place. You get to learn, and it helps the property out also, because I don't do this for money. Like, if I did this for money, I'm going to be doing this for a very long time.
Exactly.
So I'm there to, like you said, there to learn the history and the people that are in this location. I don't care about the money. I'm giving all that money to that location. Here you go. Cool. Put it
Exactly.
renovating the stairs, or anything.
Yes.
But now to the good part.
Yeah.
It's already on your shirt. If people can't see, this is a
We did
place.
survive.
Uh, this is a place that I just want to go with all of my black little heart. Like, if don't know what it is, this is called Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
There she is.
Oh,
Oh,
that's just the beautiful building. We got a couple pictures. If you've never
pictures
seen
don't
this
even do
building,
it justice.
oh, I know.
The
Oh,
massive size of it is just unreal whenever you just stand and just look up at it. That is actually the original front of the building.
yeah. But you can just tell
So,
how big the building is from the person standing to the
yep.
scale of it. Like, oh, I remember we were watching Destination Fear, and they did an episode, and they went up in a hot air balloon as a clue, like they could see Waverly Hills from. They were like literally right above it. I think I would jump out of the balloon just to be the ghost at Waverly Hill. Like, I'm completely okay being content as an entity in Waverly Hills. So, how exactly did you get into Waverly?
It just kind of happened. We were thinking about possibly going to our state penitentiary, but
Okay.
they had some just rules, and rules are rules, and we totally respect that. But
Right.
they were a little bit more strict about some things than what we were full on comfortable with at the moment. And I don't want to go into
Right.
any details because I gave you the wrong information.
Right. No, you're fine.
And it's like, well, what about Waverly? Well, okay. And then you look at it and it's like, oh my gosh, well, that's a nice little hefty price tag.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
if you got 10 people, $1,000 goes real quick. $100.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just kind of it fell into our laps. The timing was perfect because I mean they open it up to get your tickets, and they will sell out, for months.
Oh, I bet.
So yeah, so whenever we got there, our little guide, he's like, "You must have gotten your tickets early." I'm like, yeah, a little bit."
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Which that's a lot of people don't know when you're setting up these investigations. it takes months of planning. Like,
Yes.
like people don't understand that it's cool we're at that location, but people don't think about the food and the hotel and the travel just
Exactly.
to go to a place to sit there for like 12 hours to talking to yourself. Which, like, that's pretty much what ghost hunting is. It's you talking to yourself and hoping to get an answer.
Yep. That's what I
So,
tell everybody.
yeah, absolutely. Which, honestly, if people don't know what Waverly Hills was, it was a tuberculosis ward. So when they first, I'm not exactly sure, you might know the year that they opened.
I don't, but I can get it for you. It's been a minute.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
But they opened and it was supposed to be just a couple hundred patients, which ended up being a couple thousand patients while it was going in. Like enough to where they had to construct a bodysuit to bring all the patients out without all the other patients that are sick. So they didn't see how fast these people were dying from tuberculosis. And
we do have a picture, but I do want to put up a gore warning. I don't know what is going on with my camera. I don't know. Anyways, we do have. I know some people are sensitive to like blood and everything. So I will go ahead and give everyone a violent gore warning. It's a little bloody. So if you have a problem with that and you have a weak stomach, go ahead and look away for a minute.
I don't know what you're talking about. Are you bloody?
No. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
I just wanted to give the warning.
No, I know what you're talking about. Okay. Don't mind viewers. So you got your team together. How many people did you bring with you?
We had 10, 3 of which were brand new, never done it before. This is my first time doing anything paranormal.
Oh, wow.
And Waverly was their first time.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're going with you.
So this is your team.
That's my peoples.
Awesome. So how long have you guys been a team together, all together?
I'm going to actually say, well, we started doing this. It was three of us started getting together and going in June 19th of 2020 was our first investigation.
Wow.
And so since then, we've just kind of gathered, my boyfriend came in, Alan came in, Jessica, right, who's, her place is Ray County. Her sister joined us. And I mean, so we just have a bunch of people. Look at you. Yeah. There's Waverly Hills.
So I opened July 26, 1910. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it.
He's good. But we've just been getting together now for a couple years and doing the things. So we're still a baby group as far as anything goes on paper, I guess. I just got the group going on Facebook. I haven't even gotten pictures loaded onto Instagram yet. But 2020 is whenever everything kicked off.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I've been doing Underworld with Sarah for almost 8 months now, but I've literally been doing Underworld for almost 2 years now.
Right.
And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication, especially when you have to do this on your side. Like, this is a hobby to me. Like, I have to work to pay the bills, so I can only do this when I can, which is hard. So
it is.
But I want to take off one day, and I need to go to Waverly. So did you have a guide that took you around to the property, or did you just have free reign? Or
when we got there, we were met at the gate, and our guide's name was Jason. and he gave us a tour inside and out. So we went around first. He gave us the details about the building. I believe, and Alan will know better, I think it was actually, there were tents set up for people for 2 years while they were waiting for it to complete and to actually open to be a sanatorium. So, I mean, you know, that's dedication on wanting to get better.
Absolutely.
So, you know, he took us floor by floor and we went all the way up to the top. He would give us his spooky meter, you know, on which ones were the spooky. He said, you know, 4 was the one that really gets you, but then of course 5 is 502. It's got a kids ward, you know. So it's iconic. But yeah, even the bathroom, I was like, I'm in with you.
So with this, is this a red IR light or?
Yes. That's one of we were using the red lights for flashlights instead of having the white. So it doesn't blind you near as badly. You can still get great shadows. So that is 502.
So what people that don't know what that is, can you explain what 502 is here?
502, the legend says that a nurse was found hanging. A lot of people say that she was in 502, but she actually wasn't. She was actually outside the room hanging from a light fixture. And some stories say that somebody, you know, like a maintenance man came off of the elevator, which is right there, and he saw her. There's numerous stories. But you know, some of the stories are saying that, you know, that this lady, she committed suicide or she was murdered. She was pregnant by one of the doctors. You know, there's just all kinds of theories on everything. So it's one of those form your own, and you know, whether she existed, whether she didn't exist, I wasn't there. I don't know. But I'm still there to try to contact and speak with her if possible.
Absolutely.
So, you know, her legend lives no matter what.
From what I know, that's the story that I know, is that she was having an affair with one of the doctors, and the doctor told her, or the nurse told the doctor that she was pregnant, and they said that the doctor said that he didn't want to leave his wife, and they couldn't find out about the baby. And the next day they came back and the nurse was hanging.
Yeah, that's pretty much the most popular theory. Even Jason the guide gave us some different ideas. So I mean, it's really, and a lot of times, I mean, if you put a lot of thought and power and energy into something, it's going to manifest. So it's just how it is. And you know, that's how sometimes spirits are even made, is because you know, so much energy is put forth that it manifests and it becomes a being of sorts.
So, you talk about it enough, and you think about it enough, you can manifest a spirit.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's been proven multiple times through investigations. Even like, I can't say that all the TV shows and everything are legit, and you know, but that's a thing that they say is, if the stories, legends, if they're talked over centuries and centuries, it's the same story over and over. It creates a spirit.
And it will take on the characteristics of each of the stories. You know.
Are you okay, babe?
Well, my phone's about to die, and there was lightning really close to the door. So I'm gonna go. So, if I do drop my connection, thank you for your time, and I'm sorry about this.
Great to meet you.
This is not my normal.
Safe. That's all that matters.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna take you off, babe, just because I want you to go inside and stay safe.
Yeah.
All right. I will contact you after. At least watch.
Yes, I will. I gotta go charge my phone.
Yeah, you're fine. All right.
Okay.
Well, Sarah, Carrie, Sarah.
Bye, Sarah. Thank you so much.
All right.
It was nice talking to you.
It's nice to meet you, honey.
All right. So I guess it's just me and you now.
Down to 2.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want her to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. She's gone now. unfortunately. Sorry about that. I know it was supposed to be both of us, but unfortunately, she's in Chicago right now. And unfortunately, from what I found out before the stream, they're in a tornado warning. So I want her to go in and be safe and not be out in the storm. So back to Waverly Hills, we were talking about with how many people died in Waverly Hills. They had to create a bodysuit. That's I don't know if that's what they called it back then or that's what it's called now, which is pretty much about at least 100-foot tunnel.
It's a quarter mile.
Oh wow, yeah. So it literally has stairs on one side and a flat.
It's got a ramp.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get.
It is a slow decline.
Yeah. And they would take bodies all the way down it right to the ambulance or the coroner or anything to take the bodies right out and dispose of the body. Or there is a cemetery on the property, correct?
I believe so. We didn't go anywhere near any of that.
Okay.
So yeah, we just stuck with building.
Okay. And this is
on with the body shoot actually. Well, it goes to the morgue, but the 5th floor is where the the 4th floor is where the operating room. 5th floor.
Right.
4th floor. Yeah. 4th floor is where the operating room is. There's actually an elevator in the operating room that goes down to the morgue.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it goes from 4th to morgue to the body shoot.
And then the morgue is you just go right around the corner down to the chute. They wanted to keep the deceased away so that everybody that was at the sanatorium was focused on getting better.
Yeah, they did keep the morale up.
They even had sun tanning so that if you had darker, colored skin, a little bit, had a healthy hue,
right?
You might be dying, but you looked like you were healthier, so you immediately had a better sense about yourself, and everybody else felt like you're not pale and just look like death.
Absolutely, and like every floor. It had an open plan, like I had an open window, pretty much. Yeah. I wouldn't say a window, but it's really big.
They would open them out and just push the beds out, and they thought that fresh air was, what was going to help heal. Well, they didn't understand that tuberculosis is airborne, so it was spreading. It was making it a lot worse. So, families were coming and all that kind of stuff. They thought it'd be great to have your family come and visit. Well, no. And then we actually were told a story, and it was heartbreaking, about a young mother who had to stand outside and watch and wave at her new baby, or at her baby and her husband, who would drive by. That's how they could see her. Wow. So it was, it's think COVID, think of what we've been through. Now just think about having to go live somewhere because of it.
Yeah.
So, and not everybody got sicker. Not everybody, left. Not everybody stayed. So, I mean, it was effective in its own right. So,
now, was this anything other than a tuberculosis ward? Did they turn it into like a nursing home, or?
They did. They turned it into a nursing home, and it was deplorable conditions. So, so that's where you had kind of the bright, shiny, happy, healthy outlook from the sanatorium, and then it turned into an absolute flip whenever it was changed over to the nursing home. And there were even people that were chained up, and people they weren't being claimed. That they were even up on this other floor, and they weren't counted or anything. They were behind locked doors. So it was just awful.
So that kind of reminds me of Penhurst.
Yeah.
Like they were just chained to the gurneys and didn't even know how to walk, like full-grown adults.
Yeah.
That didn't know how to feed themselves, didn't know anything because they've been incarcerated. Pretty much, that's a good word for it. Like it wasn't a hospital. Like it wasn't like they call it the shame of Pennsylvania for a reason. Like it's a very strong energy. I've been there 3 times. It's
on our list too.
Oh, it's great.
I'm worried as an empath going and stepping into there because I just know the pain, the sorrow, just the dread, just going in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to sponge it up at all, but I want to see it. I want to photograph it. I want to experience it. So that's why we couldn't believe, just how amazing it was at Waverly.
So Alan said it became a nursing home in 1962 and closed its doors in 1981.
Yeah.
So, and then it's been abandoned since 1981, correct?
There's actually the owners, they've gone through some different stages on things. I don't know. You can look it up and see what all's gone on with that.
Right.
But all of the tours, everything that they do is 100% back into the building. Right now they're working on restoring the roof. Like where you see up on top where, they, in the shows and stuff, you can see the swing set or, the things there. It's all tarped in white. And he's like, just don't stand there. You're going to join us. Yeah. So, they are literally doing the roof and it's everything from the gift shop even. So I'm like, okay, what else do I need to get just so I can give you a couple more dollars,
Absolutely.
Because millions is what it's costing, so.
Yeah. So I know recently they were talking about thinking about trying to close it.
That's
such a historical building. Like you public need to see these kind of things. So, it doesn't happen again.
I know there was talk even of having like a bed and breakfast type thing in there, which I mean, hell yeah, I'd go to that hotel for sure.
Absolutely.
Stores, little shops. There's been all different kinds of talk about different things that they want to do with it. I don't know what they've been zoned and able to do. Financially, it's going to be huge having to do anything as long as it doesn't get just left in the dust again. Because oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
At least I want to go there before it happens. Like
we're going back, so you might have to join us.
Oh,
that would be amazing.
If we can afford it and get up there, absolutely. So this is the picture of the bodysuit. If nobody's ever seen it, you can't really see all the way down, unfortunately.
That's not even halfway down at the little dot in the bottom in the center.
Yeah. So this is just a very mile and a half. So it's pretty much a football and a half. Football field,
quarter mile.
Half long field, which whoever walked up and down them stairs all day with the bodies is got calves of steel because
I
haven't been there. Go ahead.
Well, we didn't have that heebie-jeebie feeling, that you sometimes do get, in the different areas and stuff like that. But I have a little story to say. I didn't go down. But 3 of the investigators did, and 3 of us stood up front. I know that whenever I was recording, because I was just doing it on my phone, one of them she was like, do you hear that? And it sounded like a man was talking. We could hear the girls. We could hear them all the way down, all the way back. But it sounded like there was a man talking at times, too. So it was, like, really odd. And then as Jessica, one of my investigators, started coming out, she just shot out of there like a bullet. And immediately she bammed through the doors and ended up going into the morgue just to center herself. She just got overwhelmed with just, a ragey feeling.
Right.
So, but she went into the morgue and Jason, our guide, had said, it sounds weird, but if you want to get in one of the body trays, and he's like, it's the most peaceful place. Absolutely.
Sign me up. Where do I go? Show me where to go. I will lay there all night long.
But
let me tour first. But.
We did a lot in there, but we had a lot of people in the room at the same time. So, you really, in a space like that, it was difficult because, I'm trying to do a little bit of teaching. We're trying to get to every floor. There's a lot. I can't even tell you how many steps we made that night.
Oh, I bet. But, did team that big? Like you said, there's a lot of people in the room. Did you guys stay together the whole time? Did you guys split off?
We split off, and we did a couple, and then we would, some people would be on one part of the wing, and we'd kind of be down at another part, or, the guys were up here and we were down here, or, we were just we stuck around for the very first beginning together. And then kind of back at the end, we all just kind of came together.
Got you.
So,
Got you.
and, and that way we had new people with the experienced people on both sides.
Absolutely.
So.
Now, how did that come along with getting new members? Is they just showed up, or?
They were all workmates of Alan and Jessica and her sister Danielle. So, it was kind of nice. They weren't just totally unfamiliar people.
Right.
But they, one of them, he was a skeptic. One of them, he was just kind of like, okay, I'm just kind of here to see what's going on. And the girl that was with us, she was like, I'm ready. Let's do this. Yeah. So, and it was interesting because our skeptic noticed, he said that whenever we were on the 4th floor getting the tour, he said the OR smelled like rotten meat, that it smelled like death. Whenever he and Alan and the other guys went back later in the evening by themselves, he said it smelled normal. It was fine, but they were getting chills and different things like that in there. Right. So, I mean, but yeah, the skeptic smelled death. So I thought that was really interesting, kind of a little potent anecdote there.
Right. Well, that's what I like about skeptics. They pay attention to that more than investigators.
Yes.
Which I pay attention to everything. I'm a very, very open look at everything. But yeah, that's the skeptic trying to not really like prove it, but at the same time he is trying to prove or try to rationalize what just happened more than an investigator be like, oh no, we could tell you what that is, but you're not going to believe us, because that's what I like to tell you. That's what I said about skeptics. Once they find that one and then they stick it. That's their first story. That's what they're sticking with the rest of their time
like
with their investigator.
Something like a smell, that's personal. I mean,
oh yeah. Yeah.
So he had a very personal experience, and thank goodness he vocalized it. Yeah. Because I mean, if you ever get to go ghost hunting with somebody and go on a property or anything, say what you see. Say what you
absolutely.
See. Everything that your senses are catching, mention it, because it makes a difference. It makes sense. It helps us get evidence on things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was very fortunate that he's like, did anybody else smell that? So
yeah.
And it did. It smelled off to me. It didn't the second time that we went through, but it had an off scent. But to him, I mean, it was rotten meat. And I was like, okay, that's pretty. That's descriptive. Yeah, you want to smell it, don't you?
I do. I do. But so the next location we have, this is old theater, correct?
Yes.
And where exactly is this theater?
That is in Poplar Bluff. It is the Rogers Theater. It was built in 1949 on the site of an old boarding house, and the yard was actually used as triage center after a tornado in 1927 devastated Poplar Bluff. So, and there were over 100 deaths. So, I mean, it had some blood on that soil.
Absolutely.
And that's the first place that I ever got to go. That was June 19, 2020. And it was neat because my son, it was his birthday on the 20th. So I was investigating on his birthday.
Awesome.
So yeah, that was where we got to do our very first investigation. That was with a hosted group as well. That was a local group that was also kind of partnered with the ones who do the Potosi and the Ray County.
Okay.
So it's nice seeing people go hand in hand, and just
absolutely.
and let you in. But one of the nurses I work with, she's like, you want to go? I was like, I want to go. I asked Jessica, so you want to go? She's like, I want to go. So we're all just kind of standing there doing this. I'm like, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know how to say anything. How do you talk? How do you talk to a ghost?
Yeah.
I feel dumb. You've got a lady over here. She's singing Mary Had a Little Lamb, and things are flashing. I've watched thousands of shows, not thousands, but I've watched, shows over the years. I'm not dumb to it. But it's so different whenever you step into that for that very first taste. It's like, oh my gosh. So
yeah,
I mean,
it's crazy because
is their first one.
yeah, yeah. Like that's the one thing that I can say about like watching it on TV to be actually being an investigation. When people say they're like, "Holy shit, this is fucking dark," it's fucking dark.
It's dark. Yeah.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Like the first location we went to, we did a asylum in Pennsylvania. It wasn't with any equipment. We were urban exploring more than investigating. And yeah, we went there at like 3 in the morning. And the first time we walked in that building, I'm like, wow, all right. Yeah, no, I can see why they're a little intimidated. Yeah, I'm a big dude, but I feel very small in this place. Yeah. So, and then you met a guest at the theater, correct?
I did. I made a friend.
Oh,
One of the nights that we went, it was actually that Halloween Eve. So it would have been October 30th of 2020. We ended up going, and this little bald guy, just a little bitty tiny guy, was just walking around carrying this little plastic tote. And I kept thinking, I was like, I told Jessica, I said, there's something about this guy. He's got something going on. Nobody just carries a plastic tote box around.
right.
His name was Doug Clack, and he had a very interesting story that it's really hard to kind of almost wrap your mind around. But he had a very special box called a Frank box.
And we got a picture of that.
Yeah. So that's the very first ghost box I ever got to really listen to.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and let me give you a little history nugget on that. These boxes were made by a man named Frank Sumption. He built them in the early 2000s. He only made about 180 of them total.
Okay.
He used car stereos and different things like that to make just little shortwave type radios.
Right.
In order to speak to the others. And he actually got the instructions on the build from the other side. So,
wow.
Yeah. And then about 5 days before his actual death, a transmission came through, and they've got different clips of it where he got something over his Frank's box that said, in fact, you must leave this month. He died 5 days later.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Talk about a coincidence.
Right. And he read about something similar to this in a popular mechanics book, I believe. Maybe, I don't know, something popular science maybe.
Okay.
And so he just kind of started tinkering and started building these as a way to comfort the grieving, because reaching the other side. And with Doug, I actually spent 4 hours in a room with his spirit box going, just rolling. We weren't sitting there asking questions and everything. I'd already done that. I had already connected with my mother. I know for a fact it was my mother. The words that came out of her mouth were her words. I mean, everything about it. Anybody that knew me would have known, oh, that's your mom. My closure was done. It was through the roof. And I was like, okay, my mom is good and she is happy with me and I can contact her now.
Right.
So he and I sat there in a room for 4 hours after that session, and that was just rolling. So if you ever go into use a spirit box and do Estes or anything like that, you go into trance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, so after I got done with that, my psychic third eye was so open that I literally, as I'm driving the car home and I'm looking at the TV, everything, I was seeing glimpses of things that were not there. Was I hallucinating? Maybe. I was tired, could have been that.
Yeah.
No, I know what I saw. I know what I heard. I know what I experienced. And it was because I was psychically open like that.
Right.
So and it took a minute to go away.
I actually, now that we speak about it, I grabbed one of my spirit boxes.
Perfect.
So pretty much what people don't know what a spirit box is. It goes through different beats per minute through a radio frequency that creates white noise. And supposedly they're supposed to be able to speak through white noise through the frequencies. I actually have SP11, which it's 2 spirit boxes in one. It tells temperature, it takes everything. But this came from the Frank box.
Yes.
Like the Frank box, this is literally the
That's
beginning
the
of
OG,
it.
that's the OG.
Yeah, which is crazy because it just, you could see how far like it's came to where this little car stereo and a little radio frequency that turns into double. I have a SB7 also.
I have a 7.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I have. This is my baby. This is. Oh, I
I'll
love
show you
this.
my babies in a minute.
But yeah, that's pretty much where the SB11, SB7 is. And you also mentioned the Estes method. Like, I want to just explain what the Estes method, if people don't know what it is. So the Estes method is, you can use this, but I also like using the SB7 for Estes method. It's just one channel, no interference. You put your noise canceling headphones in, and you put a mask on, and from, like what you said, you basically turn into a trance, and you have another investigator or somebody, either through a walkie-talkie or in person, ask the spirits questions, and you're basically you're just basically saying whatever comes out of the headphones. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes you're like, what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
But that's pretty much, for anybody that didn't know what any of this is, I wanted to explain so everybody's not lost. You got to keep everybody on track.
It's a teaching, it's a learning experience.
Yes. I like educating people that don't know. You know, that's pretty much what I feel like that's our duty as doing this. Like, I've put years and years and years of research and learning equipment and learning it the right way. I want to teach the people the right way how to use this stuff. Like, I can't say that I'm a professional by any means. I still have a lot to learn, but I feel like every investigation we learn stuff more and more. Like, I don't, at least I do. I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I'll sit here. We do. I like to use the mag lights, and you kind of barely where it's that connection's not there. And we've done it in my bedroom, just sitting there talking to family members, and having the yes and no, and it's you're learning your craft. You're teaching the spirits how to do things because they can learn, and it's just you're communicating. Do it better. Do it better every time you do it.
Right.
So.
Right. I actually, when I first got this in the mail, I started playing with it and like trying to learn it and everything. And I had it just going, like you said, I just had it going open freely, just playing. And I was at my grandparents' house that both of my grandparents passed away in, and it said Christopher through the spirit box in my grandma's voice. So I got to hear my grandma one more time, which is
when you hear it, it blows your mind.
Oh yeah, it absolutely did. I like turned around. I'm like, oh, please say that again. Please say that again. Hold on, let me get my recorder. They need to say it again. But that just blows your mind. The first time that I ever got anything out of this, I was like, yeah, cool. So you also doing the investigation and everything. So there's a whole theater, and you said it's a movie theater. They do plays and stuff there also? Like, it's still an active theater?
No, they stopped doing the movies and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It's owned by the city now, and so they have bands will come in, and smaller bands will come in and play, or they used to do a lot of the plays, the community plays would be done there.
Okay.
So it's still in use. They are actually refurbishing it and getting it kind of back to its beautiful glory, because it's a building like you've never seen. It's amazing. There's a dome that is in the lobby, and it's a lighted dome. It's like you're walking into a spaceship. I mean, it's just
wow,
it's beautiful. It's
that's cool.
Amazing. So
if you ever come down to Tampa, there's a theater called the Tampa Theater, and it was Walt Disney's favorite theater in Florida. And like you walk in, and it's like an old European village in front of the theater, and the whole roof of it has stars, and like they flicker, and it's cool. And they have an organ player on the theater with all the organ pipes are behind the village. So there's like an actual organ player while the movies are going and stuff. It's if you ever go, it's beautiful.
Definitely.
But so you caught something in this theater.
I did.
So we're gonna show it and per what the pictures are.
You got it.
So this is the theater, right?
Yes. And I'm up here in the balcony. It was almost 2,000 seats, I believe, whenever they built it, and it was 2 different screens.
Right.
And then they have now since pulled down the different screen and and united everything. But I was up here, and whenever you do paranormal investigations, use your phone, use your camera, anything you can do to take a picture, do it. Take it in 3s, no less than 3s.
Yeah.
And because you don't know what's going to show up, you don't know what's going to be out of focus. There's so many different things. Just take 3.
Yeah.
And when you do, you never know what might show up, because that was I think that was actually my second night there. So that was, that was my second night ever doing anything. So I'm just, snapping photos. And of course I've lightened it on this picture so you can see it, but there is nothing that's showing. This is actually the first. No, this is the second one out of the 3. First one looked identical to this, and then the third picture was different.
And this is the third. So we have this picture, but let me switch it to the next ones that they got the circles around them so people know what we're looking at. So this, you said that you snapped 1 picture, you snapped 2, and then you snapped 3, and this shows up.
And that showed up. And I didn't even catch it at first, because you're looking at each picture. I was brand new to it. It's like, I don't know, I'm just going to do whatever. And I was like, wait a minute. What is that, a smudge? Wait a minute. I can see through that one on the bottom.
Yeah.
What is that? And it looks like a quintessential, it looks like a Pac-Man ghost.
It does. Yeah.
And
a one-eyed ghost.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's literally, cool. You can see through it. And that's what I was like, okay. So I asked the group that was hosting, I was like, what do you think about this? And they're like, that looks interesting.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a you caught something, but it wasn't a you got, dust.
Right. Even if we go back, even the top, not the Pac-Man looking one, the one up top, it has the water stain and everything, but you go back to the other picture, there's absolutely nothing in the same spot. It's absolutely nothing. That's way too big to be dust. That's cool. I don't know how else to explain it. Every time I see pictures like this, I try to debunk them, and it's just you can't.
And I put the same exact editing parameters on all 3 of the pictures. So it's not like, I lightened this one different than that one or anything like that. No, I use the exact same parameters on each one of them. And that one just so happened to have 2 things that weren't included in the other photos. So, as a baby investigator 2 days in, I was like, oh, okay. And now I'm like, holy crap, look at what I got. So, I'm proud of that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a great catch. For a second investigation ever, I'd be pretty satisfied with that. It would definitely make me want to do it more.
Just taking pictures. So
you never know.
No, you don't.
That's anywhere. You don't even have to be in a haunted location. There's plenty of tours. You go walk around and just take pictures. You can just have something pop up just walking down the street taking pictures. You just never know.
Yeah.
So we had a guest a couple interviews ago, we had darkly obscured paranormal investigations, and you guys did an investigation with them
We
at
did.
the Vela Mines.
Vela's Mines, yeah. It was
Okay.
amazing. Yeah. And
So this is the historic Vela Mines.
yes, that is their museum. They are working on getting it back into its beautiful condition too. So we actually spent some time in there and ended up crossing somebody. Honestly, it was an experience like no other. I can honestly say that because my rods were acting differently than they ever had. We played music, and my rods would sit there and it would just sway with the music. Never had them do that before. So the overall feeling was just amazing in there. There was some tension with one of the spirits, and well, with a lady actually who had, I don't know if she passed there or if she was just held there, but she was in a bad way and had been abused, and ended up chatting with the gentleman that had done some harm to her, and in the end she ended up going moving forward, and she went to the light. So I mean, that was a very special experience right in there. But I got to do some of the Estes method with the headphones and the spirit box and the eye patches over, eye covers too. So nope. Nope. I can read lips.
Can you hear me now?
I gotcha.
Somehow my mic got shut off. Who knows? I don't know. Hopefully it's not a repeat of next week or last week. Right. We'll get this right.
I think you guys still pulled it out with that one. It was great.
Yeah. We're not going to go into that one.
Right.
So this is investigation Natalie's group put together that you guys came and did, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how did you guys find that investigation out? Like, past her promoting, or?
It was, just Facebook. I mean, I try to look for some interesting groups and whatnot, and saw that one was relatively local, very close to like where Alan lives. So it was an easy hop jump. Would have been. He didn't get to go on that one, but when we go back, which we will, we can have all the group from that side of the area, the state, go up there and go with us. So she had their group had promoted it, and came down to the wire. I was like, "You guys want to go? Yeah, let's go." So
awesome.
So we went. 4 of us went on that one.
Yeah, Natalie's one of my really good friends. I'm glad that. Awesome. Oh yeah. Hopefully, maybe by the time we get up there, both 3 of us can link up and do something.
That would be fantastic.
But if I have to say, since we have viewers, anybody that's watching on YouTube right now, give it a like, give it a subscribe, leave a comment. Leave comments on here if you're watching on Underworld. We want to know what you guys think. I know we haven't been mentioning the comments or anything much, but if anybody that's on here that's watching that likes this conversation, you can also donate stars. It goes right back to Underworld. Anything that you send that gets us, that while we're doing the Underworld, it goes right back to investigations that we can possibly meet Carrie for, or anything. So if you guys want to donate, be greatly appreciated. You don't have to. This is not me begging at all. We'll just leave it at that. But go leave a like, go leave a subscribe. Carrie doesn't have a YouTube yet. She has a Facebook. Go over there, give it a like. If you like it, leave a comment. Let us know. We want to talk to you.
Please.
Yeah. But so when we were doing an interview with Carrie, or not Carrie, Natalie, a couple weeks ago. We had the same picture. That was what you guys said that you guys caught, or I don't know if you caught or you saw the orb. I know we showed the same picture when we did it with Natalie, but I'm gonna pull it up. So is this the same kind of orbs that you saw when you investigated?
That was very similar to the one that I saw with my own eyes. That we were not there at that time for that one.
Okay.
But the one that we saw had actually, or that I saw actually was much closer to the top of the roof on the second story.
Okay.
So I actually watched it kind of go up, and I looked around, even looking to see if there was a light source behind.
Right.
No, we're out in the middle of the woods.
Right.
And there was nothing, no laser grids, no nothing. And the one that I saw was, I want to say, almost a bluish. It had a different hue to it.
Right.
So it wasn't like somebody just took their flashlight, and it had that ambient color. Now this had a different color to it, and it had to be huge. Whenever that's one of my girls, one of the ladies from my team, awesome. She was there actually with us. But yeah, no, there was definitely orb activity there.
Okay. Now I call the little blue ones blue ribbons. That's what I call them. I don't know what else to call them.
That.
Yeah. So they catch a lot of those at the Casa de los Marcos, the fort in St. Augustine here in Florida. Like that's what I say back to going to just taking pictures. You're in a very historic place like the Velas Mines or St. Augustine. You never know. You can catch stuff even in the tree line or walking around the property. You just, like I said, just take pictures and pictures and pictures.
And you do have, now whenever I went, we recently were at the Crescent Hotel down in Eureka Springs, and it's known as the most haunted hotel in America. But one of the guides there, she even said, if you have some lights that show up, like 3 different lights kind of in the cluster, right. And if they're a certain color, look at the floor, because it may be reflecting your flash or whatever might be reflecting from the floor. And I had green lights that were showing up, and the floor was green. So always look around, because you might have caught something, but you might have had a camera flare or,
Right.
But the chance that you might catch something, get that camera out and start clicking.
Yeah. Probably about 100 times out of one picture, it's either a reflection or, like you said, a flare. Yeah. Which it takes hours and hours and hours to go through those pictures.
I still get excited when I see an insect fly. I'm like, oh my God, an orb,
Yeah.
Okay, now let's bring it back down.
When I first moved to Pennsylvania, like I'm from Florida. I've never been to Pennsylvania, and we're sitting on the porch, and it was around dusk, and I thought I was seeing things. Like I thought I was seeing. All I would see is a little glow light, and it would go away, and a glow light, and it would walk away. And I would walk to my neighbor or my roommate, and I'm like, "What the heck is that? Do you see that?" And I was like, "Am I like seeing orbs just flying around?" And they're like, "No, it's a lightning bug." I'm like, I've never seen a lightning bug. I was like, "What are these little things just floating in the air, glowing in the sun?" Like, yeah.
I've probably got some outside my door right now.
Yeah. No, I'm a Florida boy. I've never seen those, and I was like, am I literally looking at orbs just floating in this dude's backyard? Like, am I the only one that sees this? Or,
everybody else just going around the business,
Yeah, But both houses I lived in Pennsylvania were haunted, so you never know. Like, we actually had, I didn't have that much activity in the first one, but when he definitely made himself known as soon as we moved in, that there was something there, and I was like, cool, whatever, you do you, I'll do me, stick it at that,
Right.
And then the second one we went to, that he liked throwing things. And we would see a little girl at the top of our stairs and door handles jiggling, and that was oh man, that was a cool house. But I remember the first time that he threw a candle across my room. Like, it was just sitting in front. It wasn't lit or anything, but it was right in front of my TV, and it flew across the room and like left a little dent in the wall. And I'm like, well, you're not going to scare me with that, so go down and mess with my roommate or something. You need to do a lot more than that. But You talking about the hotel? You said this is in El Paso?
In San Antonio.
San Antonio, okay.
Yeah.
And you said this is the most haunted hotel in San
No,
Antonio?
that's the most haunted hotel. Well, of course, every state has 5,000 of them, but it is
most haunted hotel in the world.
one of the top in the state, and definitely in San Antonio. It literally is next door to the Alamo, so
okay.
There's stuff. there's history. But
spirits and mosquitoes are gone before. Yeah. I wish there was a lot of spirits and mosquitoes running around. Yeah, I'm all positive. They love me. I don't know if you guys have a lot of mosquitoes in Missouri, but
they'll carry you away. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I have 2 cats fighting under me. My bad. If you hear scratching, it's cats. So this wasn't an investigation or anything, was it?
Not a formal one. We're gonna say that. Okay. I'm one of those that anytime we travel, I'm looking for the most unique experience for a stay, for lodging.
Right.
And unique to me includes haunted.
Absolutely.
So what do? You start searching, haunted hotel, San Antonio. So I was gonna go down and see my son. And I told my boyfriend, I was like, well, I found this one. And he was like, okay, well, and then all you have to do is basically ask. I said, is there any way you could put us in the old part of the hotel, the original? And they're like, oh, yeah. So we got a primo room in one of the most beautiful hotels I've ever seen in my life.
No, it is. It's gorgeous. It is.
Oh, stunning.
We actually have a couple pictures of it. So this is the front of it, correct?
Yes, that was the Menger Hotel. And people there, I've heard employees, one called it Menger and one called it Menger. So the Menger Hotel.
Okay, we'll just go with one of them.
Yeah, but it was absolutely stunning, and that is original right there.
Oh.
Just beautiful. There was fires, all different kinds of things have happened there. They've got over 20 known spirits there. That picture I love so much because it looks like a portal opened up over the top of it.
Wow.
Just the weirdest looking. I was like, okay, yeah, that's where I'm staying.
Absolutely. What would get me is that it's right next to a Dave & Buster's.
Yes. Yeah, you got Dave & Buster's, you got Alamo. It's all right there.
I get a haunted hotel, the Alamo, and Dave & Buster's, all in the same facility.
Win.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, and it's just it gets even more gorgeous at night, with all the lights and glowing and everything.
That's the courtyard. I would go, the second we would get done with my family, we'd go back to the hotel, and I'd immediately go get my pack. I've got my rods out. I've got my camera going. I'm just, I'm every inch of it that I possibly could. I know that the staff kind of probably, laughed at me or something because 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm still down there taking pictures of their pictures,
Yeah.
But, it's a once in a lifetime. That was my first time there.
Right.
I can go back, but that was my once in a lifetime walking in.
Right.
To the cow. Look at this.
Right.
So, yeah, but I spent a lot of time out there in the courtyard too, just chatting.
Yeah.
So,
and this is one of the courtyard, or
no, this is down at the bottom. Is actually there's a Christmas tree. It's huge. We were on there. It is. Yeah. We were on the top floor, right next to that railing. So that's where we got to go. But that's part of the original lobby, and it's just absolutely stunning. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. I agree with you.
Ever get a chance, please go San Antonio Menger Hotel. It's just unbelievable.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they have sightings of Teddy Roosevelt there. Whenever, because he actually was in their bar, and that's whenever he got the Rough Riders, I think is what it was, or whatever they're called, got them together, and they had the bullet holes. There's just the history is just dripping in that city. Awesome. Yeah.
That's cool. Now, did you get you're there to stay there, but did you get a little tour? Did you talk to any employees or?
I did talk to a couple employees, didn't get a whole lot of anything because it was late at night. I was tired anyway, but I was still wired.
Right.
We could have done the tour, but I opted not to because it was more, let's just spend time with my family. We went in to actually go see a comic, and it just so happened that, I was like, okay, let's see the comic, see my kid, and stay at a haunted hotel. So it all worked out beautifully.
When we go and hopefully do the Stringer House, there's a house right across the street called the Donnelly House, which is a haunted Airbnb. And you can get a room with a porch and eat your breakfast while you're staring at the May Stringer House. So I literally go from one haunted house to the next, which
it's the dream. My dream is to I want to do like the East Coast, and then I want to do I just want to branch out and just live in the history and investigate the history, because even if you're just at a hotel, I count that as an investigation. I'm in there actually recording stuff. I've got my voice recorder out. I've got a K2 out, little meters out and different things. Of course, I'm not going to do stuff that's loud, that's going to be disruptive.
Right.
But, just explore. It's amazing.
Which a lot of hotels that just in my research and everything, a lot of hotels don't want to be known as a haunted hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would push the business away from that's what I've been told, at least. Like, oh, we don't want to promote that. We don't want people to not come because we're haunted.
Right.
When I just saw a lady at the end of my bed. I know you're haunted. Now I have permission to let me know what's going on in this hotel. So you need to tell me now. That's just.
And just think about how many doors that opens if you could say, okay, yes, we have had some people that had experiences.
Right.
Just be open enough to say that. You've got clientele coming in because you got people like me that are searching for that hotel that want that experience.
Right.
So,
I like that's why I like doing these kind of interviews with multiple people around the United States. I'm not keeping it just to Florida. Like, there's so many people out here like trying to investigate and trying to do what we do. And we get to learn about places that I had no clue. Like, I didn't even know this hotel existed, which I feel like this podcast or interview, whatever you want to call it, it's teaching people about the way to investigate or the properties or locations that people. We've done 4 different interviews now, and we've got different locations. This is the first time, just because you guys did an interview together or investigation together, the Villas Mines. Like, that's the first time that anything's matched up so far. Other than that, it's different locations that I get to learn and other people get to learn. So the last picture that we have right now, before we get in, we have one picture and one more video, and then we'll do the question of the week. So we were talking, and this is your favorite piece of equipment that it's your dowsing rods.
Those are my dowsing rods. That's me just sitting there. It was probably a good 3:00 in the morning, good witching hour there. Just relaxing, just letting the wonderful air just hit me and just absorbing everything. Got those rods ready and just experiencing everything that I possibly could.
Right.
That's one of my favorite pictures ever.
So we're going to do a little special thing for you before we bring the videos up. I did ask Carrie, with the equipment that she has, to pick her 2 favorite pieces of equipment. What did you pick for us?
Well, I brought 3 just in case, but
that's
I picked this one. This is my coffin box. Yeah. It is a motion sensor, and I'll turn it on. It has to calibrate out, but come on, baby. It has the creepiest little tune.
Yeah.
So we set this up, and if something passes in front of it, you get an awakening of, hey, something's there.
Right.
To me, I like it. I think it's aesthetically I think it's sexy looking. It's beautiful.
It really is. I want one so bad.
If you go into an old place, are you going to be talking to spirits that are used to a REM pod that has the huge scream on it?
Right.
Or are you going to be talking to somebody who's used to maybe something more soothing like a music box?
Right.
So to me, it's like, okay, I can see how they're both effective in both ways. And like the REM pod, you'll see these on every ghost hunter thing that you come across.
Right.
You know, anything where it comes in within it, the energy just sets it off.
Now, for people don't know what a music box is, it's a motion sensor. It's basically what it is. It's a motion sensor connected to a music box that the music box goes off every time that sensor is broken.
So, yep. And then this one lights up as well, you know, whenever you do that. And then we've got my favorite, and these are my dowsing rods.
Oh, yeah, we have up here too. So I was hoping Sarah would be part of this part.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Sarah's deal, is the dowsing rods.
They do me right. They are literally they have become an extension of my hands. You know, they are part of me. So I can do it. I mean, you know, you do a yes and a no, and I can get lightning fast stuff. It's not asking anything, so it's just kind of doing this. But I can get instant results and instant answers. Whereas, like, if you're using a pendulum, you got to let that piece stop swinging. You got to, you know, let gravity do its thing.
Right.
You know, you get a pair of dowsing rods and, you know, learn how to use them correctly, and they'll change your life, honestly.
And it's like the dowsing rods is actually a really old way to find. Like the people back in the day, like pioneers and everything, would use sticks or dowsing rods or piece of copper or something to find water.
Yes. I have found my remote with this.
Have you?
Yes.
Good
I have found different car keys. I have found different things with them. So, I mean, they are great for locating as well as communicating.
So with dowsing rods, is it kind of just you're putting that energy out and the rods are connecting to that energy that you're putting out, or?
With mine, I'm very connected to one of my main spirit guides. And so in the past couple of years, I've only just needed to basically use one. I'd ask them which one I needed to use. One would wave. I'd be like, okay, I'm using you. Now that I have got his name and his identity,
right.
I feel so even more driven now that, you know, because I sit there, I hold myself like this. My arms aren't going anywhere. My hands are just sitting like this. My arms are not going to get tired because I'm not doing this, but I'm minimizing any bit of movement. Anything you do, of course, it's like a glorified coat hanger.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, there's all kinds of room for error. Right. However, when they work, it has a whole different, you know, feel to it.
If people don't know, the real dowsing rod, it's copper.
Yes.
Basically a copper pipe, which in the spirit world, copper conducts energy and it can absorb that energy. That's why most investigators use it, because of the copper.
Mm-hmm. And you can get fancy ones. You can get all kinds of stuff. I just got these because they were fully copper, and it's not they guard against anything harming you as far as the chemicals, you know, like physically harming you, not like a spiritual thing. Right. But these were a safe pair, put it that way. But yeah, I don't leave home without them. We go on a trip, I'm taking them. You know, they've flown with me. They've been sat on, you name it. But they're part of my family now.
Right. Yeah, we got the dowsing rods. We have wooden handles, which I just thought I had big hands. I just thought that was more easier to grip than just a regular. Which I don't know, because they say wood's a conductor too. So I don't know if that would interfere with the rods.
To me, in my personal experience, if you're talking to spirit, you're talking to spirit. Yeah. You know, that is what it is. Right. So it's going to conduce whatever energy it's going to do, it's going to make these things move.
Right.
You know, same as a pendulum or anything like that. So, I mean, I took my boyfriend's vape one day and even, you know, held it by the string, and I
Right.
was able to get it to even swing like a pendulum and stuff. So you
Oh,
can
wow.
make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are tried and true old methods, you know,
Right.
no battery needed. You know, I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. It's not
Those
on
will
right
actually
now.
find your batteries.
Yeah. They will suck your batteries dry.
Right. So the one video that we do have, this is at Villisca Mines while you're doing an investigation with Natalie.
Yes.
We also played this video while we did the interview with Natalie. So in the video, this is you doing the Estes method?
It's my voice that is, I'm actually spitting the words out. I'm under Estes method, so I've got the headphones on,
Right.
you know, the spirit box and the eye covers on. So I'm just spitting out. I have no idea what's being, you know, said or going on around me. I don't even really know what I was saying. It was coming out.
Right.
So, I mean, you can sit there and you can hear a whole song even if you want to, but you're going to hear some words too. So,
most of the time when you're under the Estes method, you have no idea what's being asked to you. No. And like the stuff that you're saying, some things do add up. Like some things do say over and over, but sometimes you're just saying words. You're like, boom.
Yeah.
Like the last time we did Estes method, we did an investigation here in Palm Harbor, and it literally sounded like something laughing in my ears, which I don't know how you can get a little evil laugh out of a radio station. Right. That was 100% a laugh. And like they asked, my buddy Matt asked if they want to, I don't even remember what they asked right now, but it was to do something or laugh or give us a sign. And it laughed. It was the creepiest laugh I've ever heard. It was awesome. So we're going to play the video, and then once the video plays, we'll talk about it. Now, actually, before we play the video, is this one of your other investigators that are asking something to sing that the cat ball goes off? Or?
No, that it just kind of goes along with the conversation that the group, because there were several of us that were in the I don't know if it was a living room, but in the bottom floor of the building. So people were just asking different questions and I was just spitting stuff out. So the singing actually had to do, I think, with one of the spirits that came through to me, and he said something about he liked to sing or something like that.
Okay. So you get to see the little green lights, that's a laser grid. And then from what we heard from Natalie, it's basically a blow up ball with a glow stick in it. Mm-hmm. And then a cat ball next to it. And here's the video.
Is that your birthday?
Hi again.
Hi.
It's you.
It's us. It is us. We're still here.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. We're proud of us too.
We made it out of the woods. You found the yellow. Becky said no. Becky said no.
Follow the yellow. Who's Becky?
Rebecca.
Rebecca. Oh, well. Who's Rebecca? What was she to you?
He's not even talking to you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Hey, Cody, can you move that
Cody's
ball
back.
for us? Cody, would you mind moving that ball for us, please?
I used to like to go to church.
Okay.
And paint.
Well, can you sing us a song? Sing us a church song or hymn.
It's the mines.
The mines. Did you?
Wow. I know, she showed me that video the first time, and I'm like,
yeah, actually, one of my investigators, Sarah, who's chimed in, she's the one that caught that. So I was really glad that she was able to share it with both groups so that we could use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that just blows my mind that you can get multiple words out of 1,000 beats per second that's running through this spirit box, and you can have a full conversation with it. It's just I don't know how it works.
The hard part is whenever you have them where they're almost arguing. And so you're putting words out back and forth. You don't know, of course, what's happening, but in your mind, you're like, wait a minute, there's two different voices.
Yeah.
You know, and they're literally sitting there having a conversation, but I'm the voice for them.
Right.
So it's bizarre.
They do that a lot in the paranormal shows. Like, I don't know. I know everybody watches the Sarah's. Oh, she's on her phone. Cool. But I know, like, a lot of paranormal shows, like Kindred Spirits, they do multiples. But Sam and Kobe, they're on YouTube.
I love them.
Kobe. But they've actually gone to different parts of the location and did the SS method together and asked the same questions. They got the same answers, and they're not even in the same floor. Like, that's
a goal. I want to get that going. And you could also hear a spirit box going in the background too, a geo box, I think it was, that they had going. So that was the little echoey voice that was in the background of the.
Yeah. Sarah said she recorded it on her phone.
Yeah.
Which, like, again, like, if you really don't need to spend a lot of money, you don't. Like, I know it's cool to get all the fancy equipment and all that, but like, even if you just download a voice recorder on your phone and just go out to a cemetery, or, you know, no trespassing, of course. Like, if that's the one thing that I bring up the most, like, if you want to be like a legit investigator, do it the right way. Like, ask for permission. Don't just walk onto a property, because that's a good way to lose your equipment, or a good way to get yourself arrested.
You betcha.
Which,
I mean, if there's a permit, get the permit. I mean, you know, if you are hell bent on going there, you can at least jump through the hoops to get there appropriately.
Absolutely. So. It takes a little bit of planning, a little bit of money, but it's at the end, it's worth it. Like, you're more of a chance to get a second interview, or a second investigation, or get the investigation all together. If you do it the proper way, they find you while you broke into their place, you're not getting an investigation. That's not happening. But we have, so go back to one of the pictures that we did in the beginning. We have an actual EVP from this property, correct?
Yes. This is my favorite one.
So this is, if I remember correctly, this is for the Ray County Museum, correct?
Yes, that's the one over in Richmond, over near Kansas City.
Okay. And what were you doing while you were doing this EVP?
Okay, there were three of us. It was me, Jessica, and her sister, Danielle. Okay. And we were in a room in the basement. We were the only ones in the basement at that time. Everybody had already gone up the stairs and was on different floors. We were in a room called the tack room that is known to have a male that is his space. I don't remember if he had a name or anything like that. We didn't really get that far into it, but plan on finding out next time. But there were three of us, three women, and I was sitting in one chair. Jessica was sitting there with her pendulum, and she was asking questions with it.
Right.
And Danielle was next to her. So we were kind of spread out. I had the voice recorder kind of there between us.
Right.
Again, three female voices. I have a deepish voice. Jessica has a deepish voice. Danielle has a deepish voice. We do not have men's voices, you know.
No, you can clearly tell on EVP between a woman and a child. Yeah.
So what was going on is I had a really hard time getting my ducks in a row that evening. And so I was just, talking and just making conversation, as you do, talking to thin air,
Absolutely.
And so Jessica, she's using her pendulum, and whenever right after she says it's saying yes, we got something.
And this is it.
Are you playing a joke on me?
It's saying yes.
I'm not good with jokes. I can't tell jokes. I can take a joke. Are you playing a joke on me?
It's gonna loop over. So it's right before the call, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know exactly
good with
going
jokes. I
over the
can't.
evidence and everything? Do you know what it says?
Yes, it says yes. She says it's saying yes, and you hear this yes.
Okay. I'll play it one more
And
time.
that's where, and you can even hear Daniel starting coughing while that's being said. So it's not the three of us.
Okay. Let me play it one more time for the viewers.
Okay.
Tell jokes. I can take a joke. Are you playing a joke on me? It's saying yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not good
you
with
hear
jokes.
it.
I can't tell jokes. I can take a joke. Are you
I
playing a
can
joke?
take a joke. Yeah. Yeah. Which that's a lot of things like you don't know, like not even with like people like, oh my God, ghost hunting's so scary, you know, how can you be an investigator? They're not all scary. Like they're not
No.
all demons and oh my God, I'm possessed like Zach Bagans every episode. But you know, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I've been in pretty crazy places. I've been to Pennhurst. I've been to Eastern State Penitentiary. I've been to like really known haunted places that are like legit haunted. And I've never just walked down the hallway and oh my God, I'm possessed now. My heart. But yeah. So with doing those kind of interviews or investigations, do you have a certain team that listens to all the evidence, or you guys kind of do it as a group, or?
A lot of times, like we'll do a lot of our own, just kind of listen to it yourself because I mean, you're the one that filmed it or, you know, click that button. So
Right.
you know exactly where you had that piece of equipment sitting.
Right.
So a lot of times we'll do it ourselves and then like, okay, did I catch something? Here, listen to this.
Right.
And then I like to use Audacity because I'm cheap and I like free and it's good.
Right.
So, and you can isolate it and bring it out so you can actually see that voice clear, you know, that movement in the sound waves.
Absolutely.
And it's so neat because even it has just the tiniest little of difference according than any of the other sound that it caught. So it's like, wait a minute, what was that? You know, and a lot of times it's like, okay, I think it said this or I think it said that. The ones that I caught that I fully believe in, I know what they said, you know?
Right.
So,
yeah, like so basically when you do an EVP session, you say a question, and I like going to at least 5 Mississippi in my head before somebody else answers. So you can stretch that out when it's a flat line, and then you see that's one little spike where you know you didn't say anything, nobody said anything, and that's a good way to look for evidence while you're doing the EVPs.
yeah. And see, it was hard with that one because Danielle was literally coughing just as that came through.
Yeah, that's a great.
I was like, okay, every one of us were occupied at that exact moment.
Yeah.
So, and I just had my recorder going. The second I go into a room, I'm like, okay, this is where I am. It's this day. This is who's in there. And I just set it down and I let it roll. So, I mean, you've got hours and hours and hours to go through to maybe get a 3-second clip, you know, that you can actually be proud of and say, hey, listen.
Right. Yeah, I've talked to people that like they talk about the evidence at the end of the shows. Why is there so little less evidence? Or you caught this one picture and you heard this one hey. Sorry. I mean, I don't all I got for you, the 12 hours that I was here. I mean, unless you're faking it. And like it's honestly it's pretty hard to like I don't want to say the wrong thing, but
I know what you mean.
It's hard to like especially if you have multiple people there to back it up, you know. Like if you go to yourself, there's a lot of softwares where you can make voices, you can do all this, but if you're really into investigating, you really do this as a hobby and like you love doing it, then what's the point of faking? Like, I mean, but we have a question for the week. You're more than welcome to answer it. Anybody in the comments this is your time to leave a comment after this question. So, other than the two that we played, what is your most dominant EVP? Even people in the comments, let us know what you made. What was your most dominant EVP, Carrie?
Other than that one from Ray County, in the first one that I ever caught, we went to a location and just simply, we were just talking. We weren't even doing the investigation, but I still had my stuff go up. We were investigating, but I just had my recorder going.
Right.
And it sounded like a woman singing. None of us were singing, but it sounded like, like an older lady, maybe a room away.
Right.
It was very distant, but there was nothing in there that was musical whatsoever. Electricity was barely on. So, I mean, it was just one of those, okay, none of us were singing. None of us did that. And it sounded so far away.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's the one that I was like, okay. But I couldn't catch it well enough with my recorder because it was so far that, but it was there. So, yeah.
Yeah, we did my craziest one. There's a legend of the pig lady. It's in Maryland. Supposedly the guy killed his 2 kids and dragged, it's a little graphic story. Sorry, we're all adults. But he dragged his wife to the barn and killed her and sewed a pig's face on her face and went to the top of the barn and hung himself. That's the story. That's the legend of this.
Right.
When we went, it was just an abandoned house with a big old farm and a big silo. It was very, very abandoned. The roof went down, but I had, like I said, I just had a regular phone with a voice recorder, and it was in the middle of winter, so we got out. The story is you're supposed to drive to the bridge and roll all the windows down, and you're supposed to have a lady with a pig's face come to your window and like frighten you so you don't go to the house. And I was like, cool. Being the investigator I am, I was like, cool. So we went there, and I didn't tell any of my friends that I was going to do this at all. So we get to the bridge, and they roll all the windows down, and I got out of the car and stood in the middle of the bridge. Cool. Let's see what happens. But yeah, we went there, and I stood in the middle of the bridge, and like you can hear on the recorder, my phone died. Like my phone, this is phones ago, and I lost the recording now, unfortunately. But like you can hear me get out of the car and like step on the ice and hear the cracking of the ice. And like 5 minutes later, I'm like, I need proof. Like who's here, what's here, and like 2 seconds later, it literally sounds like a pig snarl.
Oh my.
And it just, I didn't hear it out of my ears or nothing. Like this is later when we're driving home and I'm listening to all the EVPs because I'm like half asleep. And like I'm half asleep and all I hear is, I was like, whoa, okay, well, we need to go back, obviously. But yeah, that was the craziest EVP that I've ever gotten. Anybody in the comments, you can leave. Sarah's phone's dying. It's been dying the whole time. Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
But this is pretty much the end of the interview. If you have anything to promote or anything that you would like to say about your team, this is your time.
I just want to thank everybody in my team. I don't even call us members. We're just a family.
Gotcha.
If we can all get together, that's great. If some of us just get to go, do things on our own, it doesn't even matter. We're still a team.
Right.
So I just want to props out to them. Love y'all. Just started our little baby Facebook group. So it is Last Words Paranormal, and you can find us on Facebook.
Actually, I have a link for it.
Thank you.
No problem.
So it's under construction, but in over a day, I almost had over 100 people. So
nice.
It's pretty exciting.
So if anybody who ever wants to go and check them out on Facebook, this is their logo and this is the name of their investigation group, The Last Words.
Yeah, and my thing is just think about what will your last words be.
Right. Right. That's great. Hopefully this isn't the last words from me and you.
That's right. We're going to do Waverly.
Yes. Yes. But I want to thank you so much for doing the interview with us. Hopefully we can do a part 2, talk about more like equipment wise or.
That'd be great.
Yeah. But I want to, from me and Sarah, I want to greatly appreciate you coming and talking to us.
Thank you so much for having me. We really appreciate it.
No problem. I hope to see you in the future.
All right. Take care.
Have a great evening.
You too.
So, Underworld, what do you guys think of that interview? Leave it in the comments. If you're on YouTube right now, like that, subscribe, hit that bell, leave a comment. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about for these interviews. If anybody wants to be in an interview with us in the future, go to Underworld Ministry on Facebook or on YouTube, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Want to greatly appreciate you guys coming. And remember, always stay creepy, my friends.